Hi, everyone. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all today to this celebration of our 1 year anniversary of Elevate, the institution's flagship mentoring program. And we are delighted to be joined by a panel of experts, including mentors and mentees. And we will be discussing with them the mentoring program and how Elevate has come, and also hearing from an expert about a mentoring program from another industry. I'll start by introducing John Price, who is an experienced mentor, and he's a fellow of the institution and is committed to helping emerging engineers from students to seasoned professionals to achieve their goals. We have also with us Eliana Zavidi, who is also a mentor, and she is a member of IStructE with a wide range of experience in the built environment, and is also a member of the editorial advisory group for the Structural Engineer magazine. We have with us also Ana Lopez, who is a senior lecturer at Newcastle University Business School and co founder of the ALTA mentoring program for the Royal Aeronautical Society. Anna will speak about this mentoring program, which supports women from another sector. Also joining us today as mentees, we have Osaze Harrison, who is a mentee based in Georgia in the USA. And I have to say a special thanks to him because it's 4:30 a.m. In US, and he's got up really early to join us here today. We have with us Felix Wheeler, who's joining us from Germany, and we also have Simone Simers, who is a mentee and is based in the UK. So, how did Elevate begin? Before we hear from the panel, I'd like to share with you how mentoring became a priority for the institution. It's been strongly championed by many past presidents, especially more recently by Jane Entwistle, Matt Byatt, Tanya DeHoog, and Mohammed Alda. Each of them have emphasized that supporting members in their professional journey cannot simply be about exams, technical routes, and chartership pathways. It must also be about people development, how we nurture confidence, resilience, and leadership skills alongside the very necessary technical excellence, expertise, and competence that we expect from our members. The mentoring conversation started as a part of iStructE's broader inclusivity program. This began first when I joined iStructE. I gave a presentation I still remember fondly to our board in May 2023, and the theme was EDI for Greater Good. And since then, we've had various discussions and with our members and across different grades, different regions, and we are trying to listen from the members. What is it that they want from us? And we were hearing from a lot of them that they were looking for guidance that was a bit more personal, a bit more flexible, and also a bit more holistic. So, given the fact that I'm also a mentor and a mentee, and I really began to see the tangible value of mentoring for the wider membership, and Elevate grew as a result of this wider discussion and the conviction that we have within the institution that this is going to help our members. So, if you look at what is Elevate, because I referred to Elevate quite a few times, and what is it that it covers and what is it isn't. So, Elevate is something different. We have a mentoring program to become a chartered member, and there is a pathway for that. But Elevate is different from that. It is about growing your career, growing your leadership skills, building your confidence, getting industry insights, navigating challenge. There aren't anything written down sometimes about how do you approach your work, how do you approach your career. And these are held in people's minds because they've gone through the same journey before us. And sometimes that is so important to kind of have those conversations and share that knowledge that people have. And it is very important for us to distinguish that Elevate is all about that learning and sharing on a one-to-one basis about how you can become, a more fulfilled professional, both in your professional life and how you can grow as a person and focus on your personal life as well. And I think that distinction is really important. So, Elevate focuses on areas such as career planning and goal setting, leadership and management development, networking and professional relationships. It also looks at work life balance, ethics. How do you continuously keep yourself updated? It kind of focuses also on your own very personal brand and how the mentoring skills are going to support each other. And what it doesn't cover, so I think I should say that it doesn't cover professional development that will lead you to become a chartered member. And it can be a part of the discussion, but this is not primarily aimed at that. And I think sometimes people have asked what the difference is. So I thought I'd take this time to clarify the difference between the two mentoring schemes we have. With professional mentoring, sometimes we need to remember that on this professional journey that our structural engineers embark, sometimes we have to address not only the growth as a professional and personal basis, but that professional growth also includes going through the IPD supports and getting through a chartership. So there is also a dedicated handbook that will guide you through this process, and it is available on the website. But then that it is also here on the slide, and you can look at that. But that is slightly different to the Elevate that we are discussing now. So going back to Elevate, this is the very first year of Elevate, and we are today marking the anniversary of Elevate. We started out as a pilot scheme. We wanted to see how people are engaging with us, and we have had enormous response from mentees and mentors across the world. We have more than 150 mentees who have engaged with this program, and of this, the largest group have been the graduates, followed by members and students. We currently have a huge number of partnerships, which is where we have matched a mentee and a mentor together. We have also various senior members who are being mentored to go into the fellowship program. So if you're a member and you want to become a fellow, there is as a part of Elevate, we can mentor you to become a fellow. We have looked at how mentoring as a part of Elevate can help you across your different stages of the career. And now we have also a huge group of mentors and who have volunteered, so selflessly giving up their time to help other people. And we have more than 150 mentors who are supporting mentees across different geographies. We are at the moment in more than 26 countries, and we have a global reach, connecting professionals as mentors and mentees across the borders. We have participation all the way from Australia, Hong Kong on the east, going all the way to Canada and USA on the west. And that is the case for both mentees and mentors. And this makes the Elevate a truly international program and something that we will continue to build. So, being a part of Elevate, what are the benefits? And I spoke to you about, all the things that you can discuss as a part of Elevate and how it can support your career and personal journey. But they are not the only things that we look at. There's a lot of things that happen in these conversations, and that's why conversations promote that sharing and the building of relationships, that help us guide us through this journey, that everyone is on at a different stage and a different part of their career. It has helped a lot of mentees that I have heard, that it has helped their confidence, it has given them clarity about what they want out of their career. It has also given them a sense of belonging to the profession. And it's just the mentees that tell us, it's also the mentors who tell how much they have developed their coaching skills. And it's all about refreshing perspectives and speaking to people sometimes from a different generation, from a different continent. Everyone's perspectives kind of widen and people learn from each other. And there are about 6 case studies that we've got on our website from mentors and mentees. And so please have a look if you can. So, looking ahead, as we celebrate the 1 year of Elevate, what is coming next? We certainly know there's a demand for more mentoring connections. We know mentees are asking for additional streams and looking for specific domain, specific leadership, coaching, and sector specific insights. And we know how they are so focused on having this global reach, but also wanting to understand from a local context. And we are taking all of this into account to make sure that the matches that we create between mentees and mentors are thoughtful and take into account these requests about someone's understanding locally, someone bringing international perspective, and sometimes it is about various cultures coming together and enriching each other. So I know these are all processes, these are all documentation, but above all of this, Elevate is a popular and successful program because of people like you, because of members, because we have heard from members and we have created this program for you. And it is people like you who support us as mentors and who give back to the profession. And it is people like the mentees who are willing to step forward and say that we want to seek guidance, we want to learn, we want to grow. So I think this is all about you. And I'd like to thank you all for participating both today as audience and as mentors and mentees within the Elevate program. So I'd like to now move on to starting to hear from some of our panel members. And we begin with an overview from Anna, who is our guest speaker for the event. And as I mentioned before, Anna works at the Newcastle, and she's a sociologist of work and develops research and lectures on EDI, and her work focuses on gender equalities. She's also one of the founders of Alta Mentoring Group, co-sponsored by the Royal Aeronautical Societies. We've asked Anna to share her experience, and she's here with us today. And with that, I shall pass you over to Anna. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Yasmin, for that introduction and for inviting me to be here. It's always a great pleasure for me to talk about mentoring and to talk about the Alta program. So that's what I want to do, is to first introduce Alta and tell you a little bit about how it works and what we do. And then I'll talk about mentoring in the context of modern careers. I'll explain the kind of mentoring that we embrace and promote at Alta, which is relational mentoring. And then finally, I just want to talk a little bit about the potential pitfalls of mentoring and how to address them and what I see as the keys for successful mentoring relationships. So ALTA is a global international mentoring scheme for women and by women who work in the aviation and aerospace industry. It's quite unique because it's free to every professional women in this industry. Um, it has been created to really support women's careers, women's progressions in an industry where they are numerically a minority. And so it's all about addressing the underrepresentation of women, especially at leadership levels in this industry. It is run by a steering group that comprises the founding members of ALTA, and you see as some of us in that picture there. It's also unique because it's based on academic research. I was part of the academic team. We were led by Professor Sue Durbin from the University of the West of England. And so we engaged with many women in professional in aviation, and we engaged through survey questionnaires, interviews, focus groups to make sure that the way we developed Alta really responded to their needs. So we got what women want. Um, we also started with a pilot phase, no pun intended there, as we are in aviation, but we launched officially to the wider industry in 2019, and now we have more than 800 members who are mentors, mentees, or both. Um, we've won an award from the Research Council, the Economic and Social Research Council, who funded the academic research that underpins the program. And we now have a book contract, so we're at this moment writing about our experience of setting up Alta and developing it, and lessons learned from this experience. So we are online. So we have an online platform that is run and administered by the Royal Aeronautical Society. So we know that we are safe and secure, and we are GDPR compliant. Um, those who register in the platform can register as mentor, mentee, or both. They are asked to answer a series of matching questions that are different for mentors and mentees, and then the algorithm helps them match, so it will suggest to the mentee some of the best two or three best matches of mentors, and then it's up to the mentee to request that relationship, so to contact one of those best matches and request a mentoring relationship. All of this communication can be done through the platform, and the meetings themselves can be done through the platform. It's always great when mentors and mentees can meet face to face, but obviously that's very often not the case. The platform also contains lots of supporting materials, training videos that are both from us, from Alta, and from the platform provider called PLD. So there's lots of resources that are continuously being added. This diagram just shows the process that I talked about, as the mentor and mentee register and then are matched, and then have to make a commitment to the relationship, and then they can start meeting. And then, very importantly, the platform will also remind them to keep reviewing the relationship until they think it's time to end the relationship and perhaps start another one. We also do other things. I already mentioned training. Training is very important to us. We have kind of practical training on how to use the platform, but also practical hints and tips from both mentors and mentees to do the best out of mentoring. We also have training modules that are specific to our very unique scheme and to our industry. So, for example, we have a module that covers barriers to women's progression, and we have a module on diversity and intersectionality, so how different dimensions of diversity intersect with each other. We also have a newsletter that all members get at least twice a year. We started recently a podcast series, which is new for us, and we have a social media presence that we're also continually increasing and developing. And finally, we also have events for members. Sometimes they are face to face, often they are online. And here are some examples of the kinds of topics that we've covered already. We think that networking is very important. Mentoring is often a one to one relationship, so it can be quite an individual initiative, and we are very keen to develop community around it. So we try to encourage networking and create an Alta and a mentoring community. We had an expert talking about managing the work and non-work boundary, which was very popular. And we have again issues of diversity that are specific to our industry. So these are the kinds of things that we do in Alta. As I said, we did a lot of research before developing and setting up and opening the scheme. And one of the things that we realized from this research, from reading all the research that already exists is that obviously, this is not a surprise for you, but the traditional linear career is pretty much disappearing and being substituted by what literature calls the protean careers that are non-linear and self-directed. We know, as we deal with women only, we know that very often women's careers are not linear and they are what the literature calls fragmented or frayed careers. And it's very often life changes and caregiving realities, so whether it's maternity leave or caring for older relatives, that means that careers change. We also know that in a fast changing world, flexibility and adaptability are key, and we have to continue learning. So, if mentoring has always been very important in this context of a fast changing world and changing careers, it is really key to help people navigate that change and navigate career progression. So in Alta, we embrace and promote relational mentoring, which departs from the most traditional view of mentoring that is based on a power differential between mentor and mentee. And it's the model of the expert just giving knowledge to the novice. Relational mentoring is based on feminist and critical psychology and relational theory. And on the contrary, it means it sees mentoring as two-way street. So it's an exchange between the two partners, the mentor and the mentee, in which both sides give something and gain something. So the mentors learn as much and can grow as much from the relationship as the mentee, and the mentee is not a passive follower that just receives knowledge, but is an empowered partner. So the mentors are guides, not teachers or protectors, and the mentee is an empowered partner, not a dependent follower. So the literature talks about potential pitfalls and difficulties in mentoring. Is what it's called the dark side of mentoring. So this slide is a mixture of what we've learned from the literature, but also what we've learned from running Alta for a few years. So if ever there is a problem in the mentoring relationship, it's usually because there's been a mismatch between the mentor and the mentee. So matching is absolutely essential. So the mismatch may be just a simple question of the mentor not having the knowledge to fulfill the needs of the mentee at that particular time, but often is a question of a clash of values. So this is very important, and that's why we at Alta we put a lot of emphasis on the matching questions and really getting the matching right. I've never seen it personally, but the literature talks about toxic mentoring relationships that can lead to overdependence of the mentee on the mentor, or even exploitation of the mentee by the mentor. For example, the mentor stealing ideas from the mentee. As I said, I've never seen this happening, but it's there in the literature. And again, it's a question of um, embracing types of mentoring like relational mentoring where both sides are partners and there isn't a great power differential, and also why we think that the mentor and mentee should not be in a management a line management relationship, so there isn't that power between them. What I have seen is that sometimes mentoring relationships do not flourish because there are time constraints. So it's very important for both mentors and mentees to be aware of the time that is involved in mentoring and that both parties are able to commit to that time. So otherwise, the mentee feels neglected by the mentor. One thing that we uh, are always talking about at Alta is the need to attract more mentors. We have many mentors, but we need more because we have a constant demand by mentees. And this is about, especially in our case, it's about building the confidence of women to come forward as mentors even before they've achieved, the highest level of leadership. You don't need to be the most senior person in the company to be a good mentor. Um, and we need more mentors because what we see is that especially popular mentors are in constant demand, and there is a risk of burnout. So it's very important that we are aware of the time commitments involved, as I said before, but also that we have enough trained mentors, good mentors to go around to all the mentees. So the keys for success, as far as we're concerned at Alta, starts with appropriate matching, really, really important. Um, Time commitment and being realistic and aware of the time that is necessary to put into high quality mentoring necessary. Um, Mentee proactivity is a key for success as well. So again, don't expect a mentor to do everything. The mentee is an empowered partner and needs to be proactive at all stages. It's important that both parties plan meetings ahead, and at Alta we have lots of resources to help them do this. Trust is a key ingredient for good quality mentoring, and to to trust each other, both parties need to respect the confidentiality of everything that goes on within the mentoring relationship. We think it is very important to regularly reflect on the relationship and whether it is responding to the needs of both parties. And finally, it's important to know when to end the relationship. Of course, we can all have several mentors at the same time, but if we reflect about our relationships, we can also end the relationship because our objectives have been achieved, because our mentoring needs are changing, and so that's not the end of the world. We can end a relationship and start another. So these are my thoughts for today. Thank you for listening, and I hope I gave you enough food for thought, thoughtful food, and that we can have a good discussion afterwards. Thank you.
Th- Thank you, Anna. That was really interesting. And thank you for your time today. So, moving on to the panel discussion, I'd like to ask John my first question. John, I'm really keen to understand why you became a mentor. Can you share your journey with us and tell us a little bit about the benefits of being a mentor and also the challenges and opportunities? Thank you.
That's a great question, Yasmin. And yeah, my journey, it's something that I've been on for about 25, if not more years. I chartered, well, as you can tell, with this grey hair quite some time ago. And I didn't get support. There was no support. And I felt that it was something that I needed to give back to the engineering community. I didn't want other people being in the situation that I was in. There was no mentoring, and I just got into it. I just loved helping people. I loved getting the feedback. Um, One of the guys I've done through Elevate and helped to get his fellowship just recently, whenever I get someone to come through to me and they say to me, John, I've passed, or John, that's helped, I get goosebumps, you know. So it's when you get goosebumps, then you know that that's when you're a mentor. And for me, my own personal KPI as a mentor is when people I've mentor, they pass that on, and then they themselves become leaders, and then they mentor. So that's the true sort of KPI for me, and that's why I just love it. I just love helping people, especially when there's no um, prescribed way of getting somewhere. Yes, I'm an engineer and I can be, I'm code driven, contract driven, but sometimes I like to go around, and it's those around ways of getting things is something that I really do enjoy. Hopefully that's answered your question.
Thank you. Thank you, John. I think, John, just before we launched the Elevate program, I remember having a
Mm.
conversation with John and we realized how much we are both are passionate about mentoring because we both had similar experiences where we didn't have a mentor back in the day, and we just didn't want others to be in the same situation.
Exactly.
So
We were
thank you,
stuck in
John.
traffic. We were stuck in traffic having a great discussion. So, but yes, and I should give my apologies. I have to disappear.
Thanks, John. Thanks for joining us. Moving on to our next question. Eliana, you are a mentor with us. I'll ask you the same question. What made you become a mentor, and can you share a little bit about your journey?
Yasmin. So I became a mentor by accident when I was a graduate engineer. My alma mater, City University, had a mentoring program for alumni to mentor students. And I remember saying to the organizer, "Well, I'm too young for this. I don't know enough about this. Like, what would I have to offer, really?" And she said to me, "Look, you know more than them, just by the fact that you've graduated and you've started in the workplace. And also, it's not about that." And actually, I reflected on what you were saying, Anna, about actually, it's not necessarily about having 30 years of experience. It's a relationship that you're building. So I actually started mentoring really early in my career, too early almost, one would say, and it's really changed as I've gone on. I've been blessed in some parts of my career in having fantastic mentors, and I know the difference it made to me and my career and what it did for my progression. I've also had, like Yasmin and John, times when I didn't have any mentorship, and the difference is stark. And so for me, as I went on, my own experience really colored how I approached mentoring, because I realized, oh, actually, this is absolutely necessary. Exactly as you said, Yasmin, excluding all of the sort of professional skills and technical skills we all have to learn, navigating your profession, navigating your career, and finding a good way to move forward. It has been a challenge for me. I've been very helped by my own mentors, and so I'm trying to pass that on as much as possible. So when I heard about Elevate, I jumped immediately at the opportunity to mentor. And I mean, it's been an absolutely fantastic experience, both in Elevate and outside of it. It really makes you reflect on your own career and how you can help another person and what exactly makes these sort of relationships tick. Yasmin, I don't actually know if I've answered your question fully.
Thank you, Eliana. I mean, your answer just shows how people have come to this place that we all are today from different places, and what has inspired them. So each one of us have a different reason why we are either mentoring or participating here today as a mentee. So thank you so much for that. I have a question for Anna now. Anna, you spoke about the literature, the research, and everything behind it. In practical terms, how would you go about building trust with a mentee?
That's a really good question. So, first of all, it takes time. It's something that you're building constantly, and I think it has to be based on respecting the confidentiality, as I said, of the relationship, respecting the time that both parties put into the relationship, and it's about openness and transparency as well, but yes, it's something that you build every time you meet, every time you get in touch with each other, every time you send an email to each other. It's something that you build.
Thank you, Anna. I'll ask Eliana the same question. How did you go about building trust, Eliana?
So a lot of building trust for me was sharing my own experiences. And so essentially creating a sort of level playing field here. And a lot of what I've seen in my mentees of actually of all ages is obviously there's an uncertainty, there's a sort of how do I do the next thing? How do I navigate this problem? It helps to say, I've been where you are. I've seen this, or I may have not seen this exact problem, but I've seen something very similar. And here's what it was like for me. First of all, to create a sense of we're all in this together. These are all very common problems. We all deal with them. and here's my experience here, and here's the ups and downs of what happened with me. I feel like that's created a lot of trust, and created a good relationship with my mentees, because they can see that I'm not just talking from a sort of position of higher up authority, but from a sort of practical experience of, I've seen this and I've seen this happen elsewhere, and I've had to deal with it myself, and I know it can be difficult. And here's how I feel like maybe you can try and navigate it, or here's some tools that I can offer you. So yeah, that sharing of experiences, and Anna, I'm reflecting also on what you said about relational mentoring, about not being in sort of like necessarily trying to pretend that you're in a position of sort of almighty authority, but rather actually saying, well, no, I'm an engineer, you're an engineer, or you're an engineer in training. Here's what our experiences are like, and here's what it's been like for me. And like, let me show you what this place is like, basically, rather than stay away from it, or stay very apart from it.
Thank you, Eliana. And we've heard from our mentors, and I think it must be time to hear from our mentees. And Osaze, I'll go to you first. So, can you tell us a little bit about what made you seek a mentor? Why did you want to seek support?
Thank you so much, Yasmin, for the beautiful question. So basically, for me, I've been always like looking for this support system in the field of structural engineering, like somewhere where you can understand what is going on, know what is happening, because sometimes you're just in your own mind, you're just in your own pursuits, and you don't even know if the world has moved ahead of you. You don't even know if the world has transcended beyond what you are even planning for. So I was looking for that support system, like understanding what the industry entails, especially from the UK's perspective. Someone in the UK, how does he envision the structural engineering mindset in terms of what IStructE also offers, like the engineers in IStructE, what they are thinking about, what their mentality is, because IStructE is like an international association for all structural engineers. So I believe that I was going to be able to get someone who understands the the structural engineer's mindset or perspective of things. So, and that was my initial desire to seek for mentorship, to seek for a mentor. I was just craving it. I went to the website and I was like, okay, what can I find in this website? What can I see from this website? Maybe there should be something called mentoring at least. And I went online and I saw like, oh, there was something called mentoring. I saw the two types of mentoring there. And I searched for the one that was closely related to my current level. Like as a student member, I saw the Elevate membership. I was like, okay, I don't even know what this is about, but I'm just, since there is mentorship tied to it, I'm just going to apply for it and hope it goes well from there. So my desire was just to build and foster a good like structural engineering mindset and a support system from the iStructE perspective.
Thank you, Osaze. That was a fantastic answer from a mentee's perspective. I'm going to move on and ask Simone the same question to you. And I remember meeting you earlier in the year as a student when I came to visit your university. And it is really makes me happy to see you as a part of the program here today and joining us in this. So tell me, what made you seek a mentor?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. And I think it's the same reason as others mentee enjoy the program. I think what I was looking forward to was developing an active interaction with somebody in the industry who currently does what I'm looking forward to do. And as a student point of view, this is just a completely different way to network. So you build active interaction and you do your self study because it comes from them, but it needs to come from you as well. And then you have somebody to discuss the ideas of what you've been going through, what you've been looking at. And it's good to discuss ideas with somebody who is working with what you're doing. So you have your self study, you create and develop your ideas, and then you have the confirmation, whether if they are wrong or right, for somebody who has experience in the industry. And it's basically the same thing as Eliana was referring like a few minutes ago. She mentioned that you don't need to have 30 years experience because you don't need as much experience as you want to, because this is an active interaction and you can learn from your mentee at the same time you can learn from your mentor. That's basically what I was looking forward to. And since I joined the program, I've developing not just public speaking, but also I would say I've been creating and building my portfolio based on this active interaction, putting myself to actually see some projects. And so far has been an amazing experience because you are building a friendship with somebody who works with things you're looking forward to do. So I don't see this as a have network, just network. Sometimes it's basically just based on being friends with somebody who has uh, the same things. Having being friends with somebody who likes the same thing as you do, and being friends with somebody who likes the same thing as you do with experience is amazing, and it has been an amazing opportunity. And putting myself out there, speaking from a student. When you are a student, you don't have as much contact with people in the industry, and you have more contact um with what the teacher is saying, and you don't see where this information is going. But when you actually put yourself out there, you see where this information is going and what is being applied for. So far has been an amazing opportunity, to be honest. Yeah.
Thank you, Simon. That was really well put, and I think we can all see that you are getting the benefits of mentoring. As soon as you said public speaking, that kind of made me really smile. You did very well. And moving on to Felix. Felix, you know what the question is because I've already asked the same question for the other mentees. So go on, tell
Yes,
us.
thank you, Yasmin. For me, there were two main reasons to seek mentorship. The first one was that I didn't know the institution yet. I only knew it from the website, and I was looking to make a personal connection. That, to me, it makes a big difference to not just know a website. And yes, I was given the perfect mentor for that, and that worked really well. And the second reason is I was looking for advice, like not only technical, but also like career advice from someone who has no connection to my company, because it it gave me the impression, and that really turned out that way, to be a safe space for me to ask questions without being judged, or me being worried about being judged as much. And so I asked questions that I perhaps wouldn't ask a colleague. And yes, I've profited very much from my mentorship. Um, yes, and wanted to say thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you, Felix. And I think it's amazing that you've made a point about how you can ask questions to mentors that you cannot ask colleagues about career progression. I think it's a very important point, and I think we all need to kind of have that space where we can openly explore our kind of professional ambition, and also see how we can ask questions and say we don't know, it's okay not to know, and ask people about that. So thank you for that. And I will go on to my next question, which I'm receiving from the audience actually. We have a question that is from Alexandro, who says, I am a Filipino engineer and we use American standards. Are there any mentors for me? And I have to say, yes, of course, there are mentors for you. And one of the things we do as a part of Elevate is to ask the mentees, what is it that you want out of this program? And as you heard from our mentees here today, some are students, some work at the workplace, and so their needs are different. So we always find out what the needs of the mentees are, and then we look at the mentors who've already said where they are capable and what they can support the mentees with, and then we actually do a matching exercise. So we will be able to find you a mentor that suits your needs. And as everyone has said, and I've said, we are an international organization. It really isn't that difficult for us to find people in different parts of the geography who have either lived there or who have moved to that geography. So any combination, I know we can do that. So please feel free to write to us, and then we can send you some information and take it forward from there. The next question, I suppose, coming back to the mentees that I'd like to ask all of you, and I think if we can go in the reverse order, Felix and Simone, and then Asaze, tell us a little bit about the process that you have undertaken in this program, and how you have gone about making sure that you are connected to your mentor, and how you are keeping in touch. So what is so we spoke about all the benefits, but what are the day-to-day, like, practical things that you do to keep this program going? Felix, going to you first.
Yes, thank you. So the program starts off with a mentorship agreement where you just put in writing what goals could be, what objectives could be for your mentorship, um, and just reflecting on where am I in my career, where do I want to go, what are goals that I can achieve, what are setting smart goals, how can I track if I'm on the path, on the proper path to reach these goals. So that's how that started, with putting that in writing. And yes, when I looked at that with my mentor, he gave me very positive feedback for the goals that I'd put in writing. And that gave me confidence in being on the right path. And so that's what started it. And then we had meetings once, like month to once every, I don't know, 5-6 weeks. And yeah, just kept track of these goals. How are we proceeding? What's happened in the last few weeks? Are there any extra questions? And yes, so I prepared for these meetings, and that's how we were able to see if it's going in the right direction.
Thank you, Felix. Over to you, Simone.
I think this program started for me by talking about my background a little bit. And then I move forward by stating my goals that I'm looking forward to deeply understand some fundamentals and how is like the day life of a structural engineer. And then moving from that, um, I think we've got the same things like once a month meetings, but I have an active interaction with my mentor through email. So I would say that we talk, I would every week basically, and it's basically uh, talking about ideas and projects. Like I explained it before, is self study and then discuss with my mentor. And from the very point, my goal was always creating and developing a deep understanding of something that I'm looking forward to do in the industry. And then here comes the projects. That's basically how it works for me.
Okay, thank you, Simone. Osaze?
Mm. It's interesting listening to Felix and Simone, and what they are saying is just the same as also for me. Like, it started with the whole agreement stuff, and for me, I always believe that before you get into something, you should think about it, you should plan for it, you should prepare for it. So I had my own career development goals. I had my own what I wanted to get out from the mentorship scheme, what I wanted to get from this relationship between myself and my mentor. So the very first meeting was just like an introduction, just like Simone said. I explained my background of where I'm from, because it's very important for you to connect with your mentor in terms of your background. He needs to know where you're from, he needs to know the culture of maybe practicing engineering from your own side, or from your country, or for where you are currently. So it was very fascinating because I'm currently doing my PhD, and he's like, oh, are you not supposed to be tailored towards academia? Don't you want to be a professor? Like all of those comments usually comes up. I'm like, no. Yes, but not now. I want to get the industrial perspective of things. I want to be in the industry. And it's like, okay, you want to be in the industry. What are the goals that you have set towards becoming an industrial person? Like, okay, I'm like, I have this plan. So for me, my relationship with my mentor was like, I was always going to check off a to-do list with my mentor. So every time I remember that I have a meeting with my mentor, I'm quickly reminded that there is something I told him I was going to do in our previous meeting. So I'm like, okay, have I done that? So if maybe the meeting was supposed to be tomorrow, and if I see that I haven't done what I said I was going to do, I quickly rush into it and see what I can do. Maybe just do like something at least. I don't want to come to the meeting without having something to show. So it was just like that for my relationship with my mentor. I always would show something and it would be like, Ustaze, you're doing so good. You're already planning all of these things ahead of time. I wish I was in your position when you were younger. So it made all of these comments, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm probably doing something good. So it gives me like a good feedback on the plans that I have, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
Thank you, Asaze. So it's really good to hear how the mentor is actually keeping you on track with the goals that you are coming. You don't want to go into this conversation without having completed the things that you've said you would do. So that's very interesting. We've got some more questions here, where people are asking about, is the Elevate program available for mentees in the UAE? It certainly is. Elevate program is available for mentees and mentors across the world, wherever you are. And John, who unfortunately had to leave early, he is based in UAE, and he could be your mentor if you join the program. So there are other mentors as well in UAE. So certainly it is available. And the next question, we've got a lot of questions coming through. The next question is, what are the prerequisites to be a mentor? Can someone at the mid career be both a mentee and a mentor at the same time? And I'm a mentee and a mentor, and I think that is perfectly possible. I'm going to bring in Eliana to see what are the prerequisites to be a mentor. Eliana, what would you say to this person?
Yeah, considering I started mentoring when I was a grad. No, I mean, what are the prerequisites? I don't think it's a matter of experience or amount of years. I think it's a matter of attitude in a lot of ways. It's about sort of how you approach it. It's having the desire, first of all, to sort of help another person in their career, and some time commitment. I wouldn't say it is extortionate. I mean, as the mentees on the call said, I usually meet with my mentees about once a month. Nowadays, you can do this online, so the time commitment is not enormous. There is obviously some communication that we do outside of that, emails and the like. So yes, definitely having some time to commit to this, but mostly I think it is definitely about sort of attitude, about having the willingness to listen and to reflect. I did find I've always found the mentoring experience to be a very self-reflective experience. It's made me think a lot about how can I help this person, and actually that's helped me in my career massively. So I will say it's more about being open to helping someone, being open to listening to what they have to say, and giving them and reflecting. I mean, you don't have to have all the answers. I think that is certainly a pitfall that you can fall into, which is, oh, I must find the perfect solution for them. But you're not necessarily there to do that. You're really kind of there to hold a mirror, to point at things, to offer perspective. And so if you're able to sort of self-reflect, honestly, I think that is certainly something you can do.
Thank you, Eliana. I've got a few questions where people have mentioned various geographies, and they're asking, can you find me a mentor in Pakistan, for example? Can you find me a mentor in Canada? And yes, as I previously said, There are mentors that we can find for you locally or internationally as per your preference. We will need to join the Elevate mentoring program. Someone has said I was unable to find a mentor in their country, but I joined the program and we will do the search for you and we will connect you to the mentor. Another question I have is, this question is aimed at the mentors. So, Anna, I'm going to ask you this question. One of the mentees wants to understand that, yes, they understand it's their responsible to structure the meeting conversations. Can you give any tips to do that?
Okay, so I think the mentee should really be very proactive in planning the meetings. And there is a lot of training and resources available out there. So you can read about this, you can see videos. And I know that your Elevate program has a really good handbook. So there's a lot of resources out there that you can use. It really depends at what stage of the mentoring relationship you are. As we've heard from the mentees, to start with, there's a lot of what you should do in order to get to know each other and develop the trust that we were talking about before. And very important to identify, agree, and think about objectives. So it's really good to see that the mentees here in the call have done that. So I think, for initial stages, that those are the most important things that you can do, and also agree um, on how you're going to manage the relationship. How long do you think it's going to be? How often and how do you want to meet? We heard most people meet about once a month or maybe every 6 weeks. I think that's also what we recommend in Alta. If you can, if you have the time to be in contact more often, great. But those kind of substantial meetings should be around that time. And then, as the relationship evolves, you should keep reflecting on those objectives. Have they been achieved? What are you doing to achieve them? And also, have they changed? We often hear from our mentors and mentees that things happen in people's careers, and actually, what we had talked about in the first meeting has been completely, surpassed by things that happened. The mentee got a new role, got a new job, and it all starts again. So you have to negotiate those things together as a team.
Thank you, Anna. We are receiving a lot of questions, but our time is limited. But we can see that you're asking if mentoring can help you with this specific problem, or how do you go and work on this particular aspect of your career. All of these questions can be explored and worked on through the mentoring program. And I'd like to say that mentoring program is free and available for our members, whether it is whichever grade you are, student to fellow. So you will have to be a member to access our mentoring program. And I think I'd like to thank all of our mentors in the panel today and mentees in the panel today. And you've all reminded us today that mentoring is not a luxury for us, it is a necessity. It is important that we invest in people, and when we create safe spaces to have honest conversations, that's when we build the structures that support both our personal and professional development. And the impact can be profound. And that's what we have seen today and heard from all of you today. So moving on, what do we do next? It is really important, as I mentioned very early on, that Elevate can only thrive if we have more members who volunteer as mentors and more people who join in and ask for that support as a mentee. So please let your colleagues and your friends know about this program and ask them to volunteer. And we have made a simple QR code for you on the screen. It is also available on the website. So please scan that and join us as a mentee or a mentor or both as it suits you. And finally, I would like to, on behalf of the institution, thank each and every person on our panel today. And here's to another year of elevating one another and to building a profession where each of us feels supported, connected, and empowered to reach our full potential. Thank you.